Today I wanted to show you how to get Bitwig and Unreal Engine to communicate with each other using the OSC, the Open Sound Control Protocol. I start by getting this plugin from this guy, I probably can't pronounce that right, Jürgen Mossgraber, off this site, mossgrabers.de. Just go to his music software page and then Bitwig Studio Controller Support, and then depending on which version of Bitwig you have, download what you need. So I got version 3. Get this, download that. Already downloaded the file. So I went here and extracted it. I'm going to re-extract it so you can see the full file. Okay. Now you'll have this driven by moss.bw extension. So now we go to your documents folder, whichever one is for your user. Go to Bitwig Studio and extensions. And then I've already done it here, but you'll want to drag this into the extensions folder. And then restart Bitwig, make sure it's on the right version for whatever you downloaded. And if you got an older one, the instructions might be slightly different, but you can find them all through his website. Now go to your settings, and this was automatically created for me, but you would say add controller, open sound control, and just add that. Now to get it to completely work, you need something to let it send a MIDI signal through as well, even though it's not really going to be used by Unreal. Bitwig just needs it in order to send anything, so I use this program called Loop MIDI. You could just download that online as well. Right here, and then download that. I have a bunch of ports here because I've done different things, but pretty much you just say add, it just makes a port, and it's really simple. You can use that port here, so it should show up in Bitwig after you've launched this program. And then you can just select that, and that will act as a pseudo little MIDI controller for Bitwig to talk to. Now in Unreal, set up whatever project you want, and go to Plugins, and search for OSC. And then you'll see this. Enable it, restart the editor when it asks you to, and then it will be available here. So I'm just doing this in the level blueprint right now, just to show it. Start by creating a server. Now for its receiving, we need to go to the address that Bitwig is sending to. So, and port 9000 there. Then I'm going to say start listening. Now I'm going to bind an event. There's also an Unreal page on using these commands, so I will link that as well. Bind event to on OSC message received. And then we will add a custom event. OSC received. Just call it that. Now whenever we get a message, we should get the address. So pretty much OSC messages will be split into a series of strings that give an address. And maybe there will be a number at the end, or another string, or a bool. It depends on the message, and then those will give you the value for what it's addressing. But for now, we'll just look at what addresses it sends us. Now we can convert this to a string and print it out. Okay. That works. Then we go to Bitwig. And so now if we say play, we start to get beat and time being sent constantly by Bitwig here. So that's the address, and if we looked at the values, we'll start seeing numbers, so we can do that. It'll send other things like switching to different tracks, arming things, going to different slots. There's also a page by this guy that shows all the various commands. So, if we've figured out what a command is called that we want to talk to, so a good example would probably be the time. Example here would be /beat/str. So we can say bind event to on OSC address pattern matches path. So this is if we want to respond to a particular address instead of going here and splitting by string to all the different commands. So we'll leave that alone. And sys command. Now we'll convert a string to an address. We'll do the same path it was showing us, so /beat/str. So we've got this here, and you can see it in this list as well, /beat/str, and then it will send measures, quarters, eighths, and ticks. Let's call this beat event, get OSC message strings, and then let's just print all of them. See what it's given us. At least I think these are being sent as strings. I'm not sure. Sometimes you gotta experiment and find out what exactly it's sending you. Oh, there we go. 3.1, 3.3. Okay, so I just changed this to get the message index 0, because it's all just that one message at the beginning there. So this will have to be parsed into an array, and our delimiter is a dot because it's giving us something like 5.17.1.3.05, that kind of thing. So parse it into an array. We can do for each on this. Now we can say if the index is equal to 0, that is our second marker. So we'll just print that one, see if that works. Well, not our second marker, sorry, our beat marker. Or our measure marker. Element. That makes more sense. Print out the array element. Now when it's 2, it switches. 3, it switches. 4. So, 2, 3, 4. So this second one right here is our beat. We could have actually a switch on integer. And then we can even trigger certain events by the measure number, certain events by the beat number. Things like that. So I remember what I did before was I would actually keep track of current beat. Make that an integer. And then I would say this is equal to the current beat, which we're going to start at -1, just so it knows when it starts. So index 1 will be our beat here because it's measure.beat. Smaller increments. So if our current stored beat is the same as this one, that's true, we do nothing. If it's not, then first we'll set this to the new value. Get that string, turn it into an integer. Oh, in fact, I should be doing that here as well. So we actually want this current value to be turned into an integer and use that for our comparison. Then we set our current value. And then you can make something happen on the beat. For instance, we could take this cube, reference to it. Let's see what size is it right now, 0.25. So set scale. 3D 2 1 1 1. And then we'll delay for 0.2 seconds, sure. Set to 0.25 all across the board. So pretty much what this is doing is it only triggers right when the beat value changes from one beat to the next, and that way we can have an event that happens at the beginning of every beat, or as close as it gets with the messages that it gets from this OSC interaction. So now this is sizing up at the beginning of every beat. Because of the messages it is getting. Let's try that same concept with something else, just so we can see another event responding. How about play/play? One problem that I've run into here that I can't figure out why it's happening, and it might be one of those things about OSC and how it sends messages that I'm just not understanding, but pretty much this bind event to OSC address pattern matches path seems to only work for me on addresses that are 2 degrees or longer, so something like overdub/launcher, click/volume, those sorts, time/signature, beat/str. Those are the kind of ones that it seems to be able to match the pattern, but these one string addresses like /play/record do not seem to match up when I try to bind it like this. So I have to actually do it with just a generic bind event to any message received, go here, and then switch on string, and then have these addresses in here like /play, and then it will respond. So I'm not sure why that's happening, but if you have the same problem, you can just use this generic one for the one string addresses. I was guessing that this was true and false. It's actually not. This is actually just an integer that it will send. So we can also, on play here, get the integer, switch again between 0 and 1. Do 1 for the big, 0 for the small. Okay, so now when I play, it gets big. And when I stop, it shrinks back down. Because it's triggering on this event here that is sending an integer, and we're using that to switch. Okay, so if we want to go the other way around and send from Unreal to Bitwig, we're going to need to create an OSC client. I'm not sure why they're named this way, server to receive and client to send. It seems backwards, but I don't know. Just make sure you're using the right one. So, same IP address. And in Bitwig, it says that Bitwig will receive on port 8000. I will actually hook this up to a button instead of begin play so we can mess with it. How about the N key? Convert string to OSC address. And gotta look up what string we need. So these are all stuff sent from Bitwig. We need to go to the receive section. Alright, so it can receive transport messages like this. Receive, play, leave, stop. So say /play. Now we'll say set OSC message address. And we'll make an OSC message. Has nothing in it yet, that's okay. Because now we'll add an integer. Of 1. Since that's what it sends us when it's saying that it's going to play. Now go back to the client here and say send OSC message. Now, if we play, and we go to our game and we press N, it starts playing in Bitwig. And stops. Let's grab a synthesizer here that makes noise. Now we want to go here. And use these commands. VKB MIDI. We'll do channel 1. So this is all address. So these ones in here actually have to be part of the address, not part of the message. It's just the velocity that's sent as a tacked on message. Probably an integer, since velocity just usually goes in whole numbers. So let's just copy this. Copy that on both parts. Now we'll change the channel to be just channel 1. You can use whatever you want to. Usually I just set all my instruments to accept anything, so we'll do note 50, just somewhere in the middle. Save note here. Then we'll add an integer to the message. So this one, we want 127. We'll just make it the loudest it can be. This one will do 0 to stop it from playing when we release the key. Connect these back up. Now when I press the key, it plays a note. Alright, so I was able to figure out why some of these messages I was only able to send once. It was actually, you have to clear the message each time you want to use it again. So now we're moving around the game, pressing a key, playing a note. Stop it, play it again. So now, it actually lets us reuse it. So yeah, I hope you're able to make something out of this, have some fun. See you later.